guys, Dana here. And how are we today? I am not situated very well, so give me a moment. Sorry. Oh dear Lord, I'm a hot mess, aren't I? Okay, so today we're gonna be doing another story time. Yay! Weird exploits from my life. I know how much you guys enjoy these, so I apologize in advance. Sorry, it's just I've been having so much trouble coming up with things lately, and I feel bad for not posting because I think the last post before I did my video yesterday was back in November, and it was already February, so I feel really bad. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I might, in the future, I might try to do some uploads of Hitman, because I haven't bought the pass for the first season yet. I'm going to try to when I get the chance. Because I bought the second game because it came out, it looked really cool, and it was honestly a lot of fun. So I really do want to play it for you guys. I want to try to get different assassinations, like do different assassinations than the ones I did through my first playthrough. And I'm kind of sad I didn't share the first playthrough with you guys, because I think it was one of the last missions I had to do during the assassination. I got so fed up that I was like, fuck it, loaded my last checkpoint and just threw a pair of scissors at the girl. Because I was so over it at that point. And there was a debacle where I was just throwing a wrench at a bunch of different people and just knocking everybody out because my cover was blown, and they were shooting me. And I was just throwing a wrench at them. It was really funny. I really wish that I had played for you guys through when I first got the game. So I might end up doing a playthrough of the first, like when I buy the first season, like my first playthrough of that one I'll probably do for you guys too, so just be on the lookout for that in the future. Anyways, back to my story, which I hadn't even started yet. I'm going to actually tell you guys about one of my past relationships, and I use that term very loosely. The reason why I want to tell you guys about it is, well, I want to tell you guys more about myself generally over time, so you get to know me more. So hey, that's one thing. And secondly, it was just, I don't know, the relationship itself was it was very weird. It was very like, I don't know, it depends on your point of view. You might see it more as fucked up. You might see it as me being naive, because I was naive at the time, I can't lie. This was back when I was a teenager. And it was just, looking back on things, I cringed so hard at the person I used to be and who I am now. It's just, not that I've changed much, but it's just, yeah, it was bad. I'm glad you guys don't have to get to know teenage me, because I was really a hot mess. Sorry. So for context, I'm gonna start off with some context. The guy that I was with, it was technically an online relationship. It was not something face to face. We had never met face to face. I'm kind of glad we didn't, considering how all things played out, which I'll get into at the moment. And at that point in my life, things were not great for me, honestly. I'm gonna be 100% with you guys. My dad, this is when my mom was still with my dad. My dad was one of the biggest just assholes you would ever meet. Like, he swore he was God's gift to man, and everybody around him basically had to bow down to him and do what he wanted, because if he was miserable, then he would make sure that everybody else was miserable. But if we were miserable, we had to, like, not be an asshole towards him, because then he'd be a bigger one towards us. Even if when he did shit wrong, it was he was just very much an asshole. Like, just point blank. He made my life a living hell. He made my mother's life a living hell. But this was back when my mother would make excuses for him and his behavior, when my brother was also picking on me, because my brother used to do that a lot to me. He'd basically torment me kind of in a similar way my dad did, but not to the extent that my father did. But you guys don't have to worry about that. My dad's out of my life now. He's been out of my life for almost 4 years. I've been able to build a better relationship with my mother and my brother without him in my life. My brother and I we've basically grown up. We can have a relationship as grown-ups now, rather than him just tormenting me because I was the younger sibling and he could. So at that point in my life, I was basically trying to find anyone that could accept who I was. Basically, like, let me put it like that for you guys. Now, when you're in that mindset that you wanted anybody at all to accept you, and this is when I say I was a teenager, it was around when I was like 16, 17 years old. I was so desperate for someone to accept who I was, to just love me for me. And that was something I didn't really get a lot of growing up because of multiple reasons. Honestly, the only ones who I felt like I got that from at that point in my life were my grandparents, and I couldn't really see them often. It was like I only saw them on the weekends, and even then sometimes I couldn't really go to their house. So yeah, it was wow, this is really starting to become a downer. Sorry. So yeah, basically the guy I ended up meeting, I'm not gonna name names, not because I don't, I think you guys will try to go find him or whatever, but just because it's not that important anymore. But it was just something I wanted to talk about. So we ended up actually meeting on a forum site for, I think, video games. I have no idea how I even found this site, guys. Like, you ever find a website that you're on and find a website you're on. Oh God, I'm stupid. But have you ever been on a website for so long that when you look back on things, you can't remember how you found the website in the first place? That's basically what this was. It was a forum site that offered chat rooms and the like, to where you could talk with a bunch of people that you didn't know, blah blah blah. And I ended up meeting him through one of the random chat rooms. I had seen him on this site a couple of times, and he seemed like a really nice guy, and he is a nice guy in a way. More so, I think he would have been better as a friend than as a boyfriend, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. But yeah, we ended up meeting on the chat, and I actually ended up taking the first step and personally messaged him because I found that he was interesting and I wanted to get to know him better. And so we ended up exchanging phone numbers. And it turns out that he was 22 when I was 17, if I remember that right. Yeah, because it was a 5-year difference between us. He was 22 and I was just 17. Thankfully, though, in the year we met, I was turning 18 in March. And it was towards, I think, November, December we had met, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, looking back on it, it was really stupid on my part. But that's beside the point. Oh God, this is really complicated. Because we didn't start, being a couple. I'm using air quotes around that. Because I don't feel like we were ever really a couple. But on my end, I thought we were. we didn't really start being a couple around that time because he was actually coming off an engagement. And unfortunately, from what he had told me, his former fiance, had ended up cheating on him at the time, and I had felt so horrible about that. I really cuz that's somebody that you put so much trust into and love and think, wow, this is a person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, ideally going into marriage. That's usually what people are looking for. And she just ended up not being faithful, and the engagement fell through, and he was coming off of that. And at the time, neither of us were really looking for a relationship. Like, at first I was just looking for friends. Again, this was at a point in my life where I didn't really have friends. I didn't really have people in my life that I could just talk to. It was hard finding acceptance like that. At the time in high school, I think I only had two, maybe three friends that I actually spoke with on a day-to-day basis. Everybody else was kind of just there, you know. It was not easy dealing with. I'll be the first to admit. But eventually, so I think after a month or so of talking and everything, blah blah blah, there were feelings, and it's just, God, this is so fucking cringy. But yeah, there were feelings involved, and eventually I was able to admit that I liked him, and he said that he liked me too. Blah blah blah, all that. I'm glossing over a lot of the details because I can't really remember. This was years ago, peeps. Years ago. Oh God, how long was it ago? I think it was 8 years ago. Holy shit, I'm old. But yeah, so eventually we were in an online relationship, and I don't want to discourage anybody who's looking for a relationship online. That is not my intention. But there's got to be a level of acceptance, you guys, that you have to have, that this might, your relationship might not be real. And I'm speaking from experience on this, because yeah, this relationship wasn't the greatest, honestly. So after, we were together for a month. I was still in school at the time. We would talk and everything, blah blah blah. And I think after a month, he tells me that he still had feelings for his ex-fiance, and that it wasn't working out, and he broke up with me through text. And it happened while I was still, I was actually in school when he did it. It was the middle of the day. I was in school, and I actually wanted to cry. Now, I know you guys don't know me that well, but it takes a lot to actually get me to cry. I can take pain and usually just keep on moving. It doesn't really, most of the time it doesn't really faze me. I might say ow a lot, but it takes a lot to actually get tears to come out of me. But when he was kind of callous too with it, looking back. It was just pretty much a, this is how it is and it's done type of deal. It was just, it was hard. It was hard, and I took it to heart. I was really legit heartbroken. And I'm gonna more so blame that on, again, me being naive at the time, being inexperienced, I was basically latching on to him because he was one of the first people to be like, I like the way you are, I like you for who you are. It was hard. It was hard, and I was miserable after the fact. Fast forward a couple years, because it's just I wish, going back, if I could go back, I would go back and tell myself to just forget that he ever existed in my life, to just forget about him, forget about whatever time we had spent together, that it wasn't worth thinking about. Like, he's not a bad person per se. Again, like, if it was just a friends thing, I think we would have been fine. Like, it would have been fine if it was just a friends thing. But as a relationship partner, he was not great. It was pretty bad. So yeah, fast forward a couple years later, I try to reach out to him again, and he's admittedly surprised. And I feel bad at the time because he told me when we were still talking beforehand that he had a history of having his ex-girlfriends stalk him, and I didn't want to fall into that category. That wasn't my intention. I more so, when I contacted him, it was more so because I was hoping to get some kind of closure out of the whole thing, because he pretty much just said it was over, and that was it. It was over. Like, we hadn't talked it out. We hadn't really said much of anything to each other. It was done. It was a miserable experience. But when I had reached out to him, I was looking for closure, but I was also kind of hoping that we could still be friends, because again, he was a good friend in a way. There was so much that we had talked about together that I had fun talking to him with. Like, there were just stupid things I could talk to him about, and it was an easy conversation. It was fun. It was easy. And when I did reach out to him the first time originally, he was welcoming to talk to me. It was okay for us to talk and that sort of thing. And like, we caught up with each other. It seemed like we were gonna go back to being friends. Like, there weren't any hard feelings on my end. Like, yeah, he kind of dicked me over, but it was just, I had missed him as a friend. And he told me about how things had been going for him, how his life was going pretty good. Like, oh god, I can't remember the job. Apparently he got, like, his job was going really well. I think he worked for construction or something, and oh god, I can't remember what he told me. I don't know why I'm thinking this hard about it, but yeah, basically his construction job was going well. He had a daughter now who was about 2 years old at the time when I contacted him. I think this is back when I was 21, like 20, 21, around that age. And I was happy to hear that he was doing okay. I was glad to hear from him, and we kind of just fell back into the whole friend thing. Like, we would talk to each other, have conversations, and it was good. It was fine. He would tell me how things were going in his life. I would tell him about how things were going in mine. And then I remember this awkward conversation we had where I had a date that night, and I told him that I was going on a date and to wish me luck, and I think he felt some type of way about it. Like, not, like, I wouldn't say jealous, but he wasn't thrilled about it. If you understand what that means. It was just, I don't know. It was, things had kind of gotten weird from there, because I was trying to date other people at that point. I don't know what he was doing, but I think this time around he had initiated the relationship, trying to get back together with me, and I was hesitant, because yes, the feelings were still there. Yes, I still cared about him, but after what had happened last time, he basically left me because he still loved his ex-fiance, and that sort of thing just it hits hard, because it's like, I guess I wasn't good enough for him, that sort of thing. You have those thoughts, and it's natural. It's natural, but so yeah, we ended up getting back together again, using air quotes around that, because I don't feel like it was ever a really healthy relationship, and I was a fucking masochist for putting myself through it. But anyway, so yeah, we were together. We would send cute text messages. He ended up sending me a poem for my birthday that I I probably still have on my old phone that I had around that time. I, I I lost that phone, and hopefully I never find it, because if I do, I'm probably gonna throw it across the room and break it against the wall. It was one of those LG phones that you open and it had like the texting keyboard on the inside. It was pretty cool. Like my grandma had the same phone. But yeah, so we ended up doing the whole relationship thing for a while. And then one day he just stopped messaging me. Like, he just disappeared off the face of the fucking earth, because apparently he was done messaging me. And again, it was hard to bounce back from that, because I don't think it was losing the relationship that really affected me. I think it was what happened after the fact, because you have those, like, it's natural to have those thoughts, but you have those thoughts of, okay, what did I do wrong? Like, was it me? Was there something wrong with me? Could I have done something different? Could I have done something better? And I did have those thoughts for a really long time. I think like the next two years, I ended up just emotionally shutting down as far as like the whole relationship thing went, because once again, someone I had really cared about, someone I had really attached myself to, pretty much just like said I wasn't worth it. And that time, apparently I wasn't even worth an explanation. It was just pretty much, oh, I'm done talking to you. And it was hard. And I wish I could say that was the end of the story, but your girl is stupid. God. So fast forward 2 years to when I'm 23 years old. That was my dog, by the way, who just jumped off the couch. You can hear her little nails on the floor. But fast forward 2 years, 23 years old, and once again, I'm thinking about this guy, thinking about what had happened, and again, it's because I didn't fucking get closure. At that point, I was desperate. Because I kept thinking about it, and every time I thought about it, it hurt, and I wanted it to be over. I didn't want to think about him anymore. I didn't want to be concerned with him anymore. I didn't want it to exist anymore. My dog's just walking around, sorry. But yeah, it was hard, it sucked, and honestly, I wish I didn't do the next thing I did, but I ended up messaging him again through the forum site, same way, because I was so desperate for some kind of closure, some kind of, okay, it's over for good, and there's just no rebuilding this, there's no going back, it's just done, that sort of thing. And I messaged him with a really long, embarrassing ass letter that I'm glad I can't really remember most of, because I would probably want to just shank myself if I could, honestly. But yeah, basically the letter said how he hadn't really given me the closure I needed, and how honestly I wanted him to tell me that he hated me, because at that point him hating me would have been a better explanation for why he fucked me over twice, rather than he just did it because he could. Like, the first time I was understanding, the second time he tried to get back together with me, and then he just left me again. He did message me back, trying to tell me that basically he was like, I don't think he even really apologized. He was basically trying to be understanding that I wanted closure, and he tried to say he didn't hate me, and that was pretty much it. I think after that, something clicked in my head. I was like, oh my God, it's not me. It's not my fault. This this guy just, he doesn't care. Like, he didn't care about me the way that you would care about a significant other. He probably didn't see me as being a friend or his girlfriend at the time that I saw him that way. He probably saw me as someone who could help him pass the time when he was bored, someone who was just there and could keep him, busy while he wasn't doing other things, that sort of thing. Like, I was basically his entertainment when he had nothing else to do. And I'm ashamed of how long it took me to realize that. And once I did, I realized I don't need that in my life. I don't need him. I don't need his acceptance. And frankly, I didn't want it anymore. So after that, I pretty much put him out of my mind. It's been almost 3 years since we've talked. I haven't tried to reach out to him, thankfully, because this is usually around the time that I would try to reach out to him, and I didn't, because I think I stopped caring too, honestly. Not that I don't wish anything bad upon him, because again, he wasn't a bad friend per se. Like, I wish him the best. I wish his daughter the best. I wish that they were both happy and living out their best lives, but I no longer feel like I should be a part of it, or that I want to be a part of it, or that I want him to be a part of my life. I'm pretty much over it. I'm over him. And I think I'm honestly better off without him in my life. And now the whole reason as to why I decided to tell you guys this story, because I realized that I forgot to freaking put this in the beginning of the fucking audio, and I'm stupid. I wanted to tell you guys this story so I can reassure you that even if it does sound cliche and if it does sound stupid, time does heal all wounds. Like, I know you guys are probably just like, that's so stupid, blah, blah, blah. But it does. Like, I'm not saying that the pain ever really goes away, because I've been through some stuff to where it still affects me when I think about it, to where I could still, like, if I talk about it or if I think too hard about it, I'll cry because it really fucked me up. But as time goes on, it does help. It helps to let people into your life. It helps to have people to talk to. It helps to just face what happened, to find your closure, and it helps. It doesn't fix everything, because it won't ever really be fixed. There's no easy fix, but it does help you guys. So if you're going through a relationship or, post breakup, whatever, and you think, oh, I'm never going to get over them, I'm never going to get over this, you will. It's not going to be easy, but you just got to keep moving forward, God, this video ended up being so much more sombering than I thought it would, and I am almost about to reach a half-hour mark, which was not my intention. I honestly thought this was going to be 10 minutes long. I was so wrong. I really do apologize for that, guys. But don't worry about me. Your girl's okay. She's just... I just wanted to share with you guys and let you know that it will be okay. Even if it's not immediate, even if it's not right now, it will be okay, and things will get better in the future. So, I love all you guys. I hope you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video of whatever I post, okay? Mwah! Hugs and kisses. Bye!